Albie here from Spirit for Spirits, welcoming you back behind the stick. Now in this episode, we're gonna be going over gin. How do you pick your gin? Gin is like the Wild West of liquor. Basically, we're talking about a spirit that has juniper as its primary ingredient. And of course, that wording is ridiculous because there's so many different ways that something can be primary. Is it the biggest flavor profile? Was it the first thing that we put in? Is it the most of something that went into this infusion? A lot of distillers will make those decisions, and over the years they've come up with some amazing flavor profiles of how to manipulate gin into many different categories. For me, it fits into four main categories. The first one I like to call, as maybe the little pigs would have, a real ginny gin. And this ginny gin over here is called Gordon's, right? It's a very classic style of gin make where the juniper is super forward. That juniper flavor that you know is when we all think of like, oh, this gin tastes like pine trees. Why does Grandpa smell like pine needles? This Gordon's a classic gin, classic what they call London dry style. The next one here on my list is something a bit more herbaceous and something super cool and local. Check out this thing from Little Water Distilling. It is called Rusted Revolver. This one in particular has very local botanicals from down the shore near Atlantic City in Jersey, which an area we call the Pine Barrens. So we've really gone into much more of that herbaceous botanical, stepping away from the juniper and a bit more local in its gin make. Next on the list, I love to have something super floral, and nothing more floral in my opinion, gin-wise, than the Nolettes. This particular dry gin that they do has so much floral capacity to it, much more along the lines of like a lavender nose. I actually have to smell it right this second. I just have to do it. Oh my goodness, it's got these light berries to it. It just, it's wildly different in gin make than something like a Gordon's, which is just classic London dry style. And then of course you look over here and you say, Albie, I see there's some color coming out of this other gin. What's going on over there? This one happens to be a barrel-aged gin. There's another style of gin make called Old Tom, where you not only do you barrel age it, but you also sweeten it. This one in particular, no sweetener added. I'm sweet enough, so I don't need to add any sweetener. This one in particular has a barrel age to it. Now, why would you do something like that? Well, what we'll learn when we get into whiskey in a little while is about the maturation process and how that can really help not only push forward the flavors of barrels, but also pull down some of the maybe astringent nature of something like a gin. So this really beautiful bespoke gin made by Rabbit Hole has a little touch of barrel age to it, gives us a little bit more of the barrel flavors we'll learn about, like cinnamon, nutmeg, clove, some of those baking spices, and just makes it a bit softer. So now we've created a breadth of gin across the board, from the classic ginny gin to the super floral to the barrel aged. What's your favorite? Next on our list, one of my personal favorite spirits, rum. But we'll get into that next time behind the stick.